Nas once said, hip hop is dead. For the longest time, I've kind of agreed with him. In today's video, I'm gonna share with y'all why I have a problem with the state of hip hop today. Before we get into what hip hop is now, we gotta go back to where hip hop started. About hip hop is that hip hop started as a way for people from Afro-Caribbean backgrounds, African Americans, and Latino communities to express themselves and formulate a way. It was sort of a way for them to express themselves and escape their everyday troubles like gang life, violence, poverty. Hip hop became an alternative to gang violence. It was, I'd rather get into hip hop than into gang violence. And as hip hop grew in popularity, the genre started to expand. The basis of old school hip hop was about partying and having a good time. And then we started jumping into new school hip hop. New school hip hop is where we started getting into the deep dive of self-expression, of sharing our everyday lives through music, through hip hop, through rhyme. That's the thing about hip hop. Hip hop was a vehicle that people like Jay-Z and Biggie used to get out of the game. Then we move on to the 2000s, which is when I started getting into hip hop. Hip hop continued to dominate the mainstream media. It became our way of life. That's the thing about hip hop. Hip hop was a way for people to express themselves. It was also a genre of music. It also became our way of life. Hip hop was how we got our news. Hip hop was how we learned what to wear, what was cool, like the slang. It was how we spoke. It was how we talked to each other with our friends. We would watch music videos, and that's how we would determine what we would wear, like what kicks to wear to school. We would watch music videos, and that's how we would dance when we would go to parties. We would watch the videos and be like, okay, we're gonna do that. It really was a way of life for us, because if we weren't talking about the latest 50 Cent album, the latest 50 Cent feud, if we weren't talking about the latest collaboration that Pharrell did with whatever artist, if we were talking about the latest music video that was like the #1 on 106 in Park, we were participating in our own rap battles. Like in school, like you'd go outside during PE and there'd be kids huddled up and like they'd be going to rap battles. Like we would just be like there would always be like one kid beatboxing and then everyone else just like bobbing their heads. And sometimes we'd play around with it and sometimes we'd take it seriously. And if that wasn't happening, then we were doing dance battles. Like I said, hip hop dominated everything. Everyone wanted to jump on a hip hop track. Reason why was very, very simple. Because hip hop was cool. Hip hop was cool. Everyone wanted to be cool. That's it. For many of us, hip hop was a part of us. Not just a genre of music I listen to. It's a part of who I am. To me, it just doesn't feel like it's the same way anymore. Right now, it just feels like hip hop is all about cashing a check. You know, whether you're a producer and you get FL Studio, or you have Logic Pro on your MacBook, or you're using Ableton like I am, and you're making beats and you're uploading them. And then for the artists, it's the same thing. It's a way to get paid. And I get it. Like I totally get it, you know, because I literally just said that Jay-Z and Biggie used to serve on the corner, and then they use hip hop to stop serving on the corner. So we have people now in 2023 that are like, I'm just gonna get straight into hip hop. I don't even gonna bother with getting on the corner, and that should be a good thing. But the problem is that the music sucks. Because unfortunately, like every other industry, like every other type of business, music has become a numbers game. The problem is that most people, most artists, most producers that get into the game, they're doing it with the intent of follow the formula that's gonna make us money the quickest way possible, which is a hard-hitting 808 trap beat and some catchy hooks and a catchy dance that you can post on TikTok and, you know, wash, rinse, repeat. That's what's happening with hip hop right now, and it's not good enough, because what happens is it sticks for as long as the video is popular. It sticks for as long as the video went viral on TikTok. It sticks for as long as the dance is trending on TikTok, for as long as the sound is trending on TikTok. Once we move on from that, the song is just done, and you may or may not hear from the same artist again, but you probably won't. Me, I'm a storyteller. Music is a way I express myself. Music is a form of escape. Music is a way to relax me. Music is a way that it's just a way for me, you know? So to hear people make music that there's no depth to it, there's no intention to it, other than I want to make money, it kind of sucks. Here's my biggest problem with all of this. Lack of creativity when it comes to hip hop has led to the lack of curiosity about music. This is what it used to be like listening to hip hop for me. Listen to a song. Let's say, for example, Tupac's Do for Love. So I listened to Tupac's Do for Love, and I'm like, yo, I really like the song. I really like the beat. You know, I'm really vibing with this. So I'm curious, and I'm like, who made this beat? And I start doing my research on this song. And then I look up and I find out that, number one, it was pretty cool that Do for Love was released after Tupac passed away. So interesting how that project came to be. And number two, I learned that the producer used Bobby Caldwell's What You Want to Do for Love to sample to make the beat. And that's literally what the hook is. So then you're like, oh, so if I like Tupac's Do for Love and they sampled What You Want to Do for Love by Bobby Caldwell, let me listen to Bobby Caldwell's What You Want to Do for Love, see if I like it. And then I go listen to Bobby Caldwell's What You Want to Do for Love, and of course I love it because it's an awesome song. And then I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me listen to another Bobby Caldwell song. And I listen to another Bobby Caldwell song. And I listen to another one, and I kind of don't like it as much. So then I'm like, you know what? Let me listen to someone that sounds like Bobby Caldwell. Sounds like Bobby Caldwell. Someone that inspired Bobby Caldwell. Someone that worked with Bobby Caldwell. And then I just get into a deep dive of getting into different music and different genres and different artists, all because I heard one song by Tupac. That doesn't happen anymore. The perfect example I have of this is when I first jumped on TikTok back in 2020. There was a trend, there was a dance trend for Pop Smoke, one of Pop Smoke's songs, What You Know About Love, R.I.P. Pop Smoke. And obviously the second I heard the song, being the millennial that I am, I was like, I know this song. So I looked it up and I was like, okay, so the producer that created the beat for Pop Smoke for What You Know About Love, they sampled Genuine's Differences. So number one, I touched bases with Genuine's Differences because it's a good song. We're not gonna deny that. But the fact that, for me, the fact that Pop Smoke, who was a younger artist from the new generation, a trap artist, the fact that he made a song where they used a sample from a song from my generation, like, that really spoke to me. So that actually kind of got me into Pop Smoke. But I know for a fact that a lot of Pop Smoke fans probably didn't take the time to look into where the beat comes from, and then they never got into Genuine. And then it's just, that's where the curiosity ends. They don't dive deeper than Pop Smoke. They're like, oh, I just like Pop Smoke. And if you probably ask them, some people that probably like that trend on TikTok from that one song from Pop Smoke, they probably didn't listen to any other Pop Smoke songs after that. Whereas I did. I kind of got into Pop Smoke, and I had new respect for Pop Smoke. That's the type of journey that I go on when I discover new music. I get curious enough that I start discovering new music, but I feel like that doesn't happen anymore. And if there's no curiosity to find unique genres or different artists that you usually listen to besides hip hop and trap, then there is not enough curiosity for the artists and the producers to dive deep into as well, because they're not getting the proper feedback from their fan base saying, hey, I liked it when you did that, I liked it when you did that, I liked it when you did that. Because that's usually what happens. And if it doesn't happen, then we don't continue to grow and expand. Like, trap has been trending for a really decent amount of time as far as music goes, but I personally feel that it's not because it's so amazing. I feel like it's just because we've plateaued with hip hop and we don't know how to go past trap music. But real talk. Here are my two problems with hip hop today. Number one is that no one is really telling a story. Everyone cares more about the money, about the clout, than they do about actually telling their story through their music. So it's just like, if you're not telling a good enough story through your music, I'm not gonna stop and listen to your music. Because most of the time, I've noticed that some kids will be like, oh yeah, I listen to Lil Durk, I listen to Lil Baby, I listen to DaBaby, I listen to like all these new artists, but I feel like there's no loyalty because they're not crazy about expecting something else. It'll be like, oh, I heard this song on TikTok and it was hot, I heard this song at the club and it was cool, but no one's actually taking the time to go back home and listen to their entire discography because they don't care as much because there's no story to tell. They're just saying stuff to say stuff to make money. It doesn't feel like there's that much of a loyalty with the fan base connecting to the artists. Like, I remember when 50 Cent was feuding with Ja Rule, like, we all chose sides. It was, you either listen, if you were a 50 Cent fan, you weren't listening to Ja Rule anymore. If you were a Ja Rule fan, you weren't listening to 50 Cent anymore. I feel like things like that don't happen anymore. And I'm not trying to say like, oh, there should be like feuds all the time. I'm just saying something like a feud between two rap artists, two hip hop artists, would cause you, but your loyalty would be like, I don't want to listen to Ja Rule anymore because 50 Cent and Ja Rule is whack. Because nowadays it feels like the artists themselves can't even get people to listen and buy tickets to their concerts. Really what it comes down to, my second issue with hip hop today, the problem is that it's honestly just gone too mainstream. It's become way too mainstream. Hip hop was a type of music genre, it was a culture, it was a piece of history where it was only relatable, and it was only something that a certain group of people experienced. And then as the popularity of the genre grew, it started spreading. You know what I'm saying? Just like any other genre of music where it was just like, oh, it was something that was listening to at house parties and basement parties and clubs. And then it started spreading to like events. So now you watch something like the Super Bowl, and like, I think it was like 2 years ago, they had Dr. Dre performing with Snoop Dogg and Mary J. Blige. That is huge if you really think about it. Like, it's really huge to think about, a genre of music that didn't exist like 70 years ago. And then it was like headlining the Super Bowl halftime show because hip hop has become so popular. And the thing about things when they become mainstream and easily accessible is that they lose their cool factor. When anyone can do it, when everyone can do it, it's not as cool as it used to be. And that's all I gotta say for today. Let me know what you think of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And like always, don't sleep on me. Peace.